What up, guys? Todd the Birdman coming to you live and direct from InView Media. My buddy right here to the left. I always call him Irving. I don't know why. Irvine, Irving. Right?
Maybe it's a town.
Maybe it's a town. You know, I don't know. I'm from Acton, if you remember
Yeah, he's from Acton.
The last podcast went 4+ hours. But today is one of our first podcasts under the Solar Clean brand.
Yes, sir.
We've invited in Mr. All One Solar Shine Edgar, all the way up from Gilroy.
That's right. That's
California.
There you go. Congrats.
He's been on the road for like 12 hours, right, to get here.
Maybe 15.
About 15 hours.
Made a journey.
Yeah.
You know, he makes me feel special when he comes down to buy a bunch of material from me.
Yeah.
But then he just told me, hey, man, I got to get going right after this because I've got to go down and meet somebody else. I'm like, what? Thought I was your only SoCal boy, man. What's going on about that?
I didn't come down here just for you.
Sheesh. I thought he did.
Yeah, so as far as like everything, how'd you guys meet and how'd you guys get acquainted as far as like even within your own spectrum of work, I would say?
Perfect. Well, first off, I definitely appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thanks so much for inviting me. And then, so like Todd said, I am from Gilroy up north. So All One Solar Shine services not just the Gilroy, San Jose area, which is basically South Bay area, but we also service Sacramento. So we have those two locations right now. And the way Todd and I connected was actually through this industry. He's really known for the whole bird mesh, the pigeon evictions, and we have a shared colleague of ours, which is Luis, and he talks so highly of you and just said so much great things. I'm like, dude, who is this guy? Like, if you're gonna talk that great about this guy, I gotta meet him. I gotta know who he is.
Yeah.
Not just about him, his personality and who he is, but also his material. And so the material is really what brought us together, Todd and I, and just because, like I said, we service out there. We also do bird proofing. And so I really was looking for the best, the greatest material that's really going to make our job a lot easier and also get the job done, efficiently and effectively. So after Todd and I connected, it just didn't stop. We just kept talking.
Was it word of mouth first then? Is that what you're saying? You first found, but after word of mouth, did you actually research him? Like, did you go on his Instagram?
I went on his Instagram. Okay. I saw, I heard all his rhymes, all his rhymes, all his lyrics. So, so it went through that way. And then I reached out to him on, Instagram Messenger or whatever. Okay. And then, just went from there.
Yeah. Could you actually say, even going to his Instagram, where you're actually noticed his personality, where like, okay, this guy's fairly funny, kind of guy, like, that kind of personality where he doesn't take himself too seriously.
Oh, absolutely.
And then it's more approachable for me.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, with every video, like I said, he always rhymes. He always has those lyrics. He's always extremely approachable.
Yeah.
He's definitely a great guy. So with every video, I was able to see, okay, like, I can connect with this guy, really. Yeah. And yeah, it's a lot of times when you get those first impressions, being in this industry and having met a lot of other people, you kind of get to see everyone's personalities. And then also just my background with being with a lot of people, and also his background with church. I have a church background as well. And so, you just really get a good feel for the person. And that definitely what kicked off right here.
Oh, cool. It was interesting because we, we're known, but we're not known as a brand, right? And so a lot of folks, when they get into the game, we all look into the social media, who's posting what, all the hashtags. I don't even know if that's still a thing, but I still put them out there, right? But you find people. And so when he reached out and we started communicating, like I could tell, like very quickly, just like an interview, right? Like my son went to McDonald's yesterday. My 18-year-old did an interview. He nailed it. He's going to get a job at McDonald's, right? Nice. Some people may look at that and say it's McDonald's. I'm like, get out there and get working, boy, while he's in school, right? But, you could tell, like Devin and I, and Devin's here over there on the couch kicking back, but a lot of folks will reach out. They want a lot of information from you because they're inquisitive, right? But not all of it is good intentions, and not all of it is, I don't want to say positive or negative, but you could tell who is genuine very quickly on how they communicate, the kind of questions they're asking, and then if they're supporting you just as much as you're supporting them on social media.
Yeah, not just that. I think definitely what Todd's also kind of referring to, which I think is there's people that reach out to me as well, because I definitely have my YouTube channel as well. So there's people who reach out to me, but they reach out to you with one question and one question only, and that's it. And that's all they want. You know what I mean? Versus other people who really reach out to you with maybe that one question, but also for support, not supporting for themselves, but also supporting you. And then, really want to build a relationship. And so you definitely get a good feel from that person with that one phone call as to, okay, are you just after just this one thing and I'll probably never hear from you again? Or maybe when you need help again? Or are you calling me for help this time, but yet you want to start a relationship and you want to start some sort of, I'm not going to call it a partnership or anything, but just some sort of long-lasting relationship or business partnership. So that way, you guys can definitely work together and really piggyback off each other and help each other, because that's really what this industry is all about. It's extremely new. Todd's been in it for 8 years?
Yeah, this is our 8th year,
Yeah, so me, I'm barely going on 2, so I'm very fresh, very green. So I definitely know that if I can get someone with Todd's experience, knowledge, expertise, professionalism in my back pocket and really help me out, I'm all for helping him out, supporting him, because I know he'll do the same for me as well.
It's interesting because there's some folks, I get it. Like when I started many moons ago, there was not a lot of people out there. There was just a handful. We talked about that the last time we got together. But there was no way to gauge your pricing, right? And so the people that reach out, and Devin and I have talked about this quite a bit, and I hope that I have a sort of a persona that's opening it, and I don't want to say inviting or whatever, and I'm going to take you under my wing and all that, because everybody wants to be that trailblazer, right? But a lot of the folks that are getting into the game today, it's not rocket science, right? It's repetitive work that you master the craft, right? And you become highly efficient at it. But there's people that'll reach out and be like, hey, dude, I've been following you for a minute. I'm up in whatever neighborhood. I like what you do, wondering if we could sort of get together, and I got some questions. I'm a newbie or whatever. I respect those people, even if they don't, buy material. At the end of the day, I'm like, hey, man, we manufacture and produce the best product on the market. I could help you out, show you how to do it, install it, whatever the case is. So there's always an upside for me versus the other guys that their wife will call, right? And then they'll call. Yeah. They're like, how much for 147 linear feet, 2-story Spanish tile with a chimney spike, like all of the industry information. and then it's like, okay, that number ties back to, I remember I used to be in collections, so I skip trace them real quick. And oh, okay, so they're out of, Inland Empire or whatever the case is. It's like, dude, just call me. Hopefully I'm approachable. But to some people, they take that approach, and there's not that relationship. And like he's saying, the industry should be a little bit more collaborative. I'm still very kind of territorial, right? Because this is how I'm putting my kids through college. But if you're straight up and you're like, yo, man, I'm getting in the game, and you don't even have to say that there's a respect factor. But just like, hey, I'm getting in, I'm a newbie, I see what you do, man, can we like collaborate? I'm open to that all day.
And you're building a healthy relationship with a person that technically could help you out, and at one point they could help you out if they perceive themselves to be a good person, from the beginning.
Yeah, and it's not all about, like Edgar, we were just talking, he picked up a boatload of material that I'll be posting that later, right? We'll talk about that relationship later too, but we were talking more about his van, his new van, how did he get it financing? I'm in negotiations to get another van. The salespeople are just BSing me. So it's not always about like, yo, bro, how do you cut these corners, or how do you overcome this, conduit box or whatever. It's not always that side of the business. It's like, hey, man, like he was free to tell me like, hey, this is how I met the guy, this is where I got my financing. Like if I hit him up and say, hey, you think you could drop me that guy's number? I call this guy like a YouTube library, right? So he'll be like, oh, so I see you're doing this with your other company and you're using a DI. Have you ever thought of RO? And then boom, I get a ding, and then there's a video, and I'm like, holy crap, I couldn't even find that video in 30 seconds. He sent it over in like 2 seconds, right? So there's more to the relationship than just even though he didn't like respond to me yesterday on Sunday for about 7 hours, but yeah, I know, right? I was needing some information, and I'm that needy friend. So when I text you and I don't get a response, I'm like, maybe he didn't get it. Let me text him.
Yeah, Todd gets really sensitive too. So if he texts any of you guys, make sure you get back to him really quick.
He's old school. He was used to calling people, not texting people.
Right.
So getting that response right away, it's kind of like within his routine of like growing up.
Dude, I just spent 50 cents on that page. I just paged you. We were watching this movie about something else, but the guys were paging back in the day, and Devin was like, you actually did that? I was like, we lived through that era, dude. But the relationship, there's more to it when there's cohesiveness. Like, he's all the way up north, right? And then I'm all the way down here, but I'll meet him up in, where did we meet like last time? Bakersfield, to drop off material, right? There's folks that have bought, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of rolls, but just because the relationship might not be this might be bad. We might have to cut this out because they're going to be like, I knew it. He didn't like me. No, but he's selling me the material. Either the schedules don't click or whatever the case is, but it's like, hey, man, you're just going to have to come and get it. Devin will meet you at the warehouse, like we're busy or whatever. But like when you click with folks, it goes a lot further than just like business 101.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I mean, there's so much when it comes to business. There's just so much that's involved in it. I mean, you know as well, because having a podcast, maybe you're not dealing with material itself, but you're dealing with just logistics. You're dealing with so much marketing. You're dealing with with just a lot of things that are going on. And so same with us. I mean, it's not just all about just, hey, how do I cut this corner? How do I bird-proof this house? There's so much going on as far as where are you advertising? How are you advertising? What's working for you? What's not? Right now, Todd is saying that August seems to be a slow month for him. And, a lot of it may be tied to kids going back to school.
The way he said that was he's busy. He's killing it. Like, well, Todd's suffering, guys.
He has a secret, He has a secret.
No, but so just going back to that, just like, okay, so what's working for one person in August that maybe not be working for Todd in August, or, vice versa. What's working for him with his pitching guard, and that's not working for me, and things like that. So that way we definitely share these tips, these tricks, and these our opinions as well, with regards to a lot of things, regards to employees. I mean, Todd, he has his employees, I have my employees, and so maybe just how do you handle a certain thing, or how you paying them, or just a lot of things that go into play when it comes to business management, and operating that business, not just how you get the pigeon, the bird mesh installed. And so, like Todd was saying, we're constantly talking. I mean, I think I talked to him more than I talked to my wife.
Yeah, don't tell my wife that. She's gonna get upset about that.
So, we're constantly talking about different things, about how to improve. And I really like what Todd said, just going back a little bit about owning the craft and being a master at it. I'm not gonna say I'm a huge fan, but I really like Shia LaBeouf. I think he's definitely real. He's definitely down to earth. And one of his last interviews that he just had, he talked literally just about that, about mastering the craft, and his craft was obviously acting. And so, and I've always constantly referred back to this in our craft, whether it's solar panel cleaning or whether it's bird proofing, that's our craft. And when it comes to mastering it, it comes down to looking at what we're doing and how do we improve and how do we become better, right? Yeah. We're not looking at other cleaners. We're not looking at other bird proofers. Right. We're not looking at this other company, how they're doing it. No, we're looking at ourselves. We're really taking a look at that mirror and saying, okay, I didn't like the way this one looked at the end of the day. What could I have done differently? I didn't like the way this one looked. And so when we sit back and look at that install, or look at how we dealt with that client, or look at how we dealt with that employee, I personally think that's how we master our craft and how we improve at the end of the day, right? Yeah. Not comparing to anyone else. And when we're doing this, we become, like Todd, really a legend. And like you said, I really do think
I need bigger earphones.
I really do think Todd has that title because, I mean, like you said, a lot of people know us, but they don't know us. Yeah. But in the industry, people know Birdman.
Yeah, he's the wizard, bro.
You say the word Birdman, and people know who you're talking about.
Supremacy thing. He's gone right to the race card again. This guy, what was it, 15 minutes, and he's already on the race card.
Well, you are from Acton, so what are you gonna do?
I do have a sharp pitch for
it. So yeah, and it's just, I mean, it may go back to the amount of years that he's been in the industry. Yeah. It really, I don't think it does. I think it just goes to what he's done in the industry and just how he's really evolved, because our industry right now, it's evolving every single day. I mean, with all these new laws, with all these new mandates, with just how things are evolving, especially also the panels themselves. I mean, before they were a lot smaller than now. Mm-hmm. So just so many things are evolving, so we have to evolve with that. And so with that evolution, we're just constantly talking, just saying how we can improve.
See, he's a good guy. I look at everybody's stuff, and I look at it, and kind of mastering the craft is, a long time ago, one of my bosses told me in front of I think we might have talked about that before, but in front of all of my staff, like 200 and some people, is a leader born or are they taught? And I'm like, a leader's absolutely born. Because you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? You can't build that passion, right? And so when you have employees, and even my son, in the quality of where he's at versus where he was when it was just getting some money, right? Mm-hmm. that you got to give to what in order to master that craft. When you look back, right, I see people posting things and I'm like, maybe that's just where they're at. And I don't want to be the egotistical one and be like, maybe I should reach out to them and tell them that looks like Santa Monica because it's so wavy, right? If you want to use the roll versus the pre-cut stuff, cool. But there's a way to flatten those curves or get those corners tight, right? So yeah, right. Jump on it, walk on it, right? Just lay it down, walk on it, and bolt it on, right? So like we watch everybody, like we all like are genuinely, I would say, supportive of each other, and then there's the I would think there's probably some, without saying it, teams, right? Some collaborators, like he and I talk all of the time versus me and Big Will with HydroClean down in the Inland Empire. We talk all of the time. But then there's pockets, right? I see like different companies, they collab. There's just, they've got together, they click, and that works for them, right? But I watch a lot of what everybody does. I've always watched it from a territorial type of perspective. But then an opportunity for me too is like, I tell Devin all the time, I'm like, if the phone stops ringing, it has nothing to do with me and what I've done over the years. It has to do with what you and the crew is not doing, right? Because he could get up there, blow it out. We do QC checks. I pull up just like you were videoing your guys showing up to the job. He had a video the other day and he's like videoing down the street. And I'm like, he's videoing his own van and his crew was like, I don't want to say they were late, but he was there before the crew was there, right? So we do spot checks, but I watch people's stuff. I reach out to people, and it comes back to like when I've always given, if I'm going to put my time and energy into something, I'm going to make it look like as best that I can. And then in this industry, we're always collaborating. We're just talking about Mr. Clean Turf, nothing to do with why he was here, the podcast or whatever. And I'm shooting him out like, hey, this is my next step, my research, whatever. And he's like, well, isn't the heat going to melt the grass? And I'm like, yeah, I just got to find out what temperature. So it's like, there's good dialogue. And then he's like, well, wait a minute. Well, like before he was like, well, why are you Solar Clean and then Mr. Clean Turf? Why don't you just add that to that? So that led to like a 40-minute conversation, right? So it goes deep. And I know I just went on the 14 freeway. I'm probably down in Pacoima now on that one, but
no, there's a lot of critical thinking when it happens to have, or when you find someone that has the same mentality or the same wavelength of like, okay, this is where I'm going to be headed. But of course we get stuck in our tunnel vision that we do need someone that has common grounds in our lives so that we could then at least view where we're going a little bit differently, where it's a little bit more healthier because we, of course, like you're talking about territorial, you're being territorial. That's more of just an emotional state. Like that's your ego talking to you. Sometimes we have to let go of that and say, hey, I don't know everything. I can't learn everything all at once. I do need someone to kind of like bring me back and, hey, this is what you could be doing. And if you decided to go this route and you may do better, better process in the long run, and I get it. I'm a guy too. We all have that, like we're all territorial, but it's something that we just have to kind of like analyze for ourselves. Like, okay, how far do I want to go in life? And in order for us to go in life, we have to understand that we need to build a community. And that's something that you guys are talking about. You guys are building your own club of networking together and you guys are within the same industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, that's definitely for sure and true. And I think the whole territorial thing comes with just having that confidence. Having that confidence in like. So you service obviously here, service Lancaster as well. Yeah. So you have your territory, but I can already think of one person that's also in Palmdale. And so
better let me know.
So
that's why Devin's here. Devin, take care.
Go tie him up in my van. And so, but at the same time, you've been this for 8 years. Right. Someone who's just starting out isn't gonna mess with your game, right? You've been in it for so long. You've already created your following. You've already created your brand. You've already created that whole, who is the Birdman. And so, as far as you taking care of your territory, of course, we're going to be taking care of it. But at the same time, people aren't going to be messing, with what you've already established and what you've grown. Yeah. Especially if they're just starting out. So, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I've only been this for going on 2 years now. And so up north, in my area, I probably can think of 4 people you know, for the cleaners. But just NorCal in general, there's just not a lot like in Southern California. Southern California, you guys have been cleaning solar panels for, I don't know, 10, 15 years.
Right.
And so in Northern California, you're probably doing it for like 4 or 5 years. Oh, okay. So there's not that many as far as Southern California goes.
They just got electricity up there. So now they can get solar.
Yep, that's right. And so by taking care of our territory, you know, we're definitely establishing our ground and establishing who we are, and so that people can find us. But at the same time, like you said, we have grown our own club, we've grown our own following, and so by having that as well, we're not going anywhere. You know, and if we have that mindset of where we want to go, we're gonna get there. In the movie Alice in Wonderland, the Cheshire Cat, he's looking at Alice and he says, she's talking about like where does she want to go? She's lost, right? And she's at a what do you call it? A Y, or an intersection of like two roads. And she asks the cat, where should I go? And the Cheshire Cat looks at her and she's like, well, it depends on, you know, where do you want, she asks, which road should I take? And the cat says, well, it depends on where you want to go. Because, you know, right. if you don't know where you want to go, it doesn't matter which road you take. And so I've always had that, that quote, that teaching in my head, because we always have to have that mindset. We need to have the end result in mind, and we need to know where we want to go. And as long as we're on that path, even though there's roadblocks, even though there's maybe some speed bumps, or maybe it's not a straight way, we're going to get there. And I think, you know, Todd is definitely getting there, and what he's doing with Devin is extremely, I mean, it's super admiring. My dad is actually an auto mechanic. He's been an auto mechanic for like, I don't know, 40, 50 years. He just turned 70 in June. He's still working as an auto mechanic.
That's awesome.
And unfortunately, I just wasn't able to follow that footsteps. You know, I really wasn't able to.
He's got soft hands.
Yeah, I really wasn't able to go in there and become a mechanic myself. So if Todd's able to really establish this and build this, and, you know, his son Devin can take it over or continue this, that's awesome. You know, because what Todd has built right now, what he's going to continue to build, you know, it's only going to keep going and keep getting better and better. And that's why all these other people within your territory, I mean, they're not going to mess with Todd. You know, he has his following.
Yeah, and then kind of going after what you're saying, just building off of it, is it's understanding your why and your purpose as far as like why you're doing it, because there is going to be hiccups. You know, everything that we do on a daily, it's going to become a routine. So there are going to be days where we're not going to want to do that same routine, but understanding your purpose, your main purpose, set aside the work that you guys are doing. You know, that's where you kind of start pushing. Like, I'm feeling a little tired. It doesn't matter, because you understand your purpose, you know? You understand your why, and that your main focus is that, rather than, okay, I'm going to achieve, but I understand why I'm achieving. And like he said, last time we spoke, I did it out of necessity, you know, like the amount of work that I do. He did it at the wanting for him to be his own boss, you know, that kind of understanding. Like, I want to take care of my family, but I don't want to work for somebody else. But that kind of like meets his why of like, okay, this is why I'm outside in this desert, you know, up in the roof, you know, on a daily, or this is why I need to get up, even if I'm feeling a little sick today. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then when you know that, and when you understand it, and when you believe it, it shows. I may not know his, you know, Todd's full backstory. I may not know where he got his why from.
You got 4 hours.
But you can definitely see it. You can feel it. And what happens is that, this is all my opinion, my perspective, it creates loyalty.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, I'm not going to lie. Sitting in front of Todd, I've been hit up with such cheaper mesh, but I don't want the cheaper mesh, right? I'm willing to spend the money.
You got no to that, Devin.
I'm willing to spend the money. I'm willing to come down to Palmdale. I'm willing to come down to Bakersfield to buy high quality mesh. But why? Because I'm buying from Todd, right? I'm not buying just mesh. We buy from people.
Yeah.
Right?
Amen.
And so when we buy from people, and when we know that Todd is going to be helping you, supporting you, and backing you up, you know, those extra, you know, amounts of money that you're spending really makes it all worth it.
Yeah. I mean, there was a time, like, literally we got into the game, and one of my buddies down in Menifee, Premier Solar Panel Cleaning, right? Adam and Shauna, they were focused on blowing up because down there it was busier. They serviced Orange County, San Diego, all of that stuff. So they did blow up, and I was always focusing on, man, this stuff is expensive. The quality is kind of whack. It's inconsistent. So I focused on making the product and like we talked, evolving, right? We cut it in 5-foot sections for a reason. I could talk hours on that. And then being crisp, and then the clips. There was a time I would get regular chromoly, well, not chromoly because they're stainless steel or aluminum colored clips, and I would lay them out 100 at a time on a cardboard, and I'd have my kids, child labor, paint them in the garage. Yeah, I'd go over them with flat black, and then I'd hit them 2 coats. And then there was a time where I was using fence ties out of Lowe's. That see, I'm giving away some trade secrets. When you run out of clips, go to Lowe's and get some fence ties. They're aluminum.
Okay.
And then the little spare that you would cut off when you pull it and you cut it, I'd bag those and I'd take them home, and I had a jig that I'd bend them, so I would make clips out of it. So I appreciate somebody that could maximize his return, because at the end of the day, hey, we're all friends, but we got to feed our families, right? Yep. So I appreciate the fact that he's staying with the quality product, and you know, if he ends up going, his business model takes him in a different direction, I understand. Yeah. I'm not going to be happy because I lose all that money, and I got to give him back his credit card, right? But that was our goal, is to be able to provide something that somebody else can't. There's other companies that sell, and those companies have been acquired or they've been sold, and people, you know, they buy from them for whatever reason. Maybe it's a net 30, a net 60 and stuff like that. You know, I'm a smaller distributor of our own material, but the relationship's there. Like I tell people jokingly, like, did Bezos answer your call, right? Like, you bought that stuff on Amazon. I mean, you've got to focus on your bottom line, but when you start getting to a certain point, there's certain things that you just won't live without, right? The consistency of the material and things like that. So I don't know. I appreciate all of those folks that stay true, and there's a lot that come in, they buy, they get the knowledge, and they move on, and maybe Prime gets it to them the next day and it's cheaper. I could appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to win every battle.
No,
you know. So, but at the same time, the way I see it also is that one person who bought from you maybe didn't buy from you again. Now he knows who you are.
Right. Yeah.
And so when someone says, "Oh, I need clips," or "I need mesh," and I can't find anywhere, your name, Birdman's, going to be there. Yep. And so you can always, and I guarantee you, I'm sure you have already received like some sort of referrals, or someone bought from you from someone who maybe doesn't buy from you anymore.
Yeah.
You know, or hasn't bought from you in a long time. And so the fact that someone may not buy from you now, just in my opinion, it's not a game changer. It's nothing that, you know, is going to make or break you.
Yeah.
Same thing that goes for me. You know, for example, like right now we've done a lot of cleanings, and so a lot of my cleanings right now, I'm about maybe like 30% repetitiveness, right? I would definitely like for it to be more, but I know from those other 70%, I actually have gotten some new, you know, clients that have said, "Oh, such and such told me about you. I like to get my solar panels cleaned." So maybe I didn't get his repeat business, but I did get someone else. And if you are getting those referrals, then it's just as good as getting his repeat. You know, he liked what you did. He liked your whole business. You know, he was satisfied. And so, you know, your business continues to grow that way as well.
Yeah, that's one thing I tell Devin, and he's a quieter type of personality, but I told him just what you said. I said, people are buying from you. Like, when it comes down to it, right, I've struggled over the years, and we talked about this before, when other folks get in the territory. And the only the thing I can't stand is when they cheapen the industry, right? They're not going to have any longevity. They're screwing things up for the half a minute, right, while they're in it, and then they're out, right? But like I tell Devin, like I forgot what I was saying now.
Well, I would kind of go, building off of what he's saying, because I see it in my industry. I do real estate photography and videography. When I first started, no one was really doing it. I jumped in where I was the first one here that really established a business. Right. Now everyone's copycatting off of what I did, just the formula as far as like what they see online. But of course, the quality kind of dipped. As far as like the amount of photographers now are everywhere out in this area, because they found it, hey, there's a new industry, I need to make money too. But of course, that the quality that I was delivering to the client didn't stay the same. And of course, what he's saying when it comes to customer service, it's a big deal because we don't want to become the used car salesman. And if there's just one me, but there's so many of them, all of a sudden I become them as well, because there's more of them than there's me.
See, that's where my brain went. I was like, man, late night. what was just that is like the personality and who they're buying from. And the wife would tell me, God's got you. He's never forsaken you. And not to get all like Christian like, but I struggle with that because when you see that you've got jobs posted, they're ready to go, they're on the schedule, and some chuck rolls in and undercuts you, and then they go away. There's only so much of that you can control, right? Yeah. And like I tell Devin, I said, they're gonna buy me, if I get a couple quotes and somebody's a little bit more pricier than the next guy, but they're all relatively doing the same type of work, and I've vetted through them, I've seen their work and all that. If I click with that person, I'm more comfortable to go with that person, even though they're a little bit more expensive, right? I'd rather go with that person because there was some sort of a relation, like you're saying, like they're buying from you, and then whether they stay on a rigid schedule or not. Same thing this morning is we've got, hey, my neighbor referred me over to you. That guy hasn't had his panels cleaned in probably 2 years, right? But whether he remembered or he got a door hanger or whatever the case is, he's like, hey, Chuck next door, he referred me over. And I'm like, Chuck? I'm looking, I'm like, damn, we haven't cleaned that guy's panels in like forever, right? But yeah, they're buying off of you. So it's helped me. And the wife would always say, just be you.
Yeah.
Just go do you. Like Devin says, why do you take so long on your inspections? Well, I don't have anything else to do. You ever go to those houses or those customers and they're a little older and they're like
talking about the weather?
Yeah. They're just talking and you're like, damn, dude, I'm that old guy now.
Yeah, they're lonely.
Like, I'm going
it's
out
not
to
just
talk.
that. It's like when you come across this house. So no kidding. I was door knocking a neighborhood. It's a brand new neighborhood. It's not even showing up on Google. So what does that mean? All the houses have solar panels, right? So I'm door knocking this neighborhood, and a 96-year-old answers the door, and man, he's home alone at this. It's like 11 o'clock. I mean, all he wants to do is talk to someone. So I was there for maybe 45 minutes. He invited me inside. I was like, I'm just not wanting to go inside because I know once I get inside, I'm not leaving anytime soon. And so we did talk for about 45 minutes at the door, but just sometimes when you have that approachable personality, I mean, it happens, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, whether he cleans his solar panels or not, I mean, God bless his heart, who knows? But it's like he may refer me, he may not, or but at the same time, that goes back to your why. I'm not knocking on every door with one intention, and that intention is to sell. That's not my personality. My personality is I'm knocking on the door to educate you. Why? Because that's what we're doing right now. The solar panel cleaning industry is extremely new and green and fresh, to where people don't know why they have to clean their panels. Yeah. People don't know how often they have to clean their panels. People don't know the benefits of cleaning their panels. So if I just come at you and say, I'm here to clean your panels, are you interested? It's an automatic no.
Right.
But if you come out here and just, let them know, do you know the benefits? Have you ever cleaned your panels? Do you know that, there are cleaners that, focus on cleaning panels. And a lot of people are like, one, I didn't know it existed. Right. Two, I never knew that this was such a thing. Or three, I never thought about it. I thought the rain does it. And so just starting off with that education, automatically it opens up the door that now instead of peeking through the door, now they've opened the door wider. You've broken that ice. So the confidence in there, the trust is there. And it really helps when you're doing it that way, with that mentality of coming to educate someone rather than come in and just say, I want this, and give me your money.
Yeah, and that don't happen in 30 seconds. Like people always say, like I was with Solar City, and they used to have these specialists. Give me your elevator pitch, and I'm like, that's so cheesy. Like I hated the sales aspect of it.
Sells me this pin.
Yeah, right. Here's a pin. Sell it to me. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna stab you with it, and you're gonna take your wallet.
American me.
Right. But it's crazy the whole pitch, and it's like that too. The guy that I was telling Edgar earlier. Up in Anaverdi, we were like the kings of that area. Like you could put all the companies in the Antelope Valley together, and we've done more than all of them put together. It's just the age of our company, but we keep going back and back and back. And so we flyered it again, right? And then I went on Saturday and I put up signs, yard signs. Other companies, literally, I know of companies that come and
they take your sign down.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, wow. And then because they're stupid enough to put their sign.
Okay.
Do they just leave your sign on the ground, or they take your sign?
No, they'll take it. Right. Wow. So it was funny because I came across a Facebook memory, and the company had something to do with like when something covers the sun. Right. I won't say the name, but that's what happened to them. They're gone. Right. But don't be a dummy and put your sign up if you took my sign down.
That sounds like a warning.
Yeah, right. I'm like, I've loaded up full from acting, boy.
Oh my God.
So I tell Devin, will be like, we've already been here 5 times.
Yeah.
He gets off the roof. It's lunchtime. It's late, right? We try to get everything done by a decent time. The guy saw a sign, called me, appreciated that I went out there immediately, right? And then he booked it. And then there's a big no soliciting sign. I said, how long have you lived here? Because I know we've been through that neighborhood. Like 5 of his direct neighbors we've done, right? And so he goes, we've been here 2 years, but there's a couple of us that stand behind that sign. So if you put stuff on our door, we're not going to take it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe he got it and threw it away. But he signed up, he saw the sign. But I tell Devin, I said, just what you're saying is people will move in, they will move out. The new people that buy the homes, they don't know what they're getting into. Half of them, I'd say 90% of them aren't educated in solar, how to read the bill, to understand the true-up process, the education. So when you go to a door, like sometimes we'll just hanger it and bounce. Like nobody wants to have that conversation. Imagine me, we've talked about this, I've got my dark glasses, right? Bald dude. They were warned about it when they were in LA. They move up to Lancaster. What's in Lancaster? All those white supremacy guys, right? Those bikers. I come up to the door, I'm all bam, 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 bam. They're like, oh my God, it's true. Hide the children, right? And I'm like, no, I just want to educate you on the solar. I don't do good marketing.
Turn off the lights.
Yeah, right. No one's home. Yeah. You should just do what the Latinos do. Just honk the horn.
Yeah, right. Just honk the horn, right? But it's like to have that conversation, people don't get it.
Yeah.
It is, you got to bring down those defenses. Like I tell Devin, I said, hey, look, you go out and say, we're in the neighborhood. We have our little pitches and stuff, but we try to be as
laid back and as possible.
Yeah. So we're not like totally invasive and taking their time and, because I hate, like literally, like these guys get DoorDash and stuff. He won't even answer the door. Oh. I'm looking at the phone. I'm like, she's kind of cute, dude. You might want to go get that. Yeah, you know what I mean? But the world's gotten, so we talked about that, right? It's gotten so convenient and all that. It's like people that are like, I did an inspection the other day and the guy was like, hello, through his door. And I'm like, hey, whatever his name was. I said, hey, you scheduled a free pigeon inspection? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm here.
Yeah, right?
I'm here, right? Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, I said, so I'm just going to go ahead and give you some time to get together. I'm going to get up on the roof to, take pictures, come back down. Nothing. I go back to the door. Hello? I said, hey, I'm all done, man. I said, so how you want to handle this? You want to come out and see the pictures? Can you text it to me? I mean, you don't win everyone like you said, right?
Yeah.
But it is a hard conversation, and it's hard for people to accept the fact that, because so many people are like, they're pushy, and those new tracks, they get the water softening companies, they get the vacuum cells companies. So then you made a video on that, right? Like, when you see me, what do you think, or whatever, on the door knocking, just it's hard because people generally do want their money, so it's kind of hard to do that.
Yeah, being approachable is it's key number one, to be approachable. As far as like after what he had stated, was it something that you kind of gradually started learning as far as like you getting into the industry, like customer service is number one, or were you already understanding like I need to make sure that one, I'm approachable as a human first, and then from there I'm going to sell the product?
So no, it was just a childhood thing. So ever since I was young, so I went to church all my life.
I think he's like 27, dude. So
oh, you're young.
Well, when I was young.
You're a young kid.
When I was a little kid. When I was a little kid.
When I was younger.
Yeah. My dad, I'm extremely grateful, but my dad, every time I wanted something from someone or just had a question, you go ask him. You go ask him. You go ask him. Yeah. Being 7 years old, 6 years old, having to go ask that person, I just learned that, just talking to people. And then also part of church, we had Boy Scouts. And so at the age of 8, I started Boy Scouts.
Were you a Golden Eagle? What do they call it?
Eagle Scout.
Eagle Scout.
I was. And so the whole scouting adventure, you go camping, you go different camps, you go for week-long camps. And so you just meet a lot of people, you do a lot of projects. And so that also helped with just surrounding yourself with people that you don't know, with talking to people, with organizing events, with going to events, participating this and that. And so, and then obviously sports. So just always doing all these activities, that involved either organizing or participating or, just being amongst big crowds. I mean, even at church, having to give messages or give talks, in front of, I don't know, maybe like up to 100 people or less, so you build those skills. And then the last one that what really, I guess, is a cherry on top for myself is I was an LDS missionary. And so this is how I grew in love.
So you were banging doors way back in the day.
Exactly. So
you had more doors closed on you than anybody in the industry.
But where I was serving was actually in Argentina.
Oh wow!
So I was out in Argentina. That's where I grew in love I grew love for the language, for the people, for the country, and my wife's from Argentina, and so getting doors slammed in your face, not just in your own language, but in someone else's, in another language. I mean, it was tough. It was really tough at first.
You learned the bad language real quick. Huh?
It was tough at first, but eventually, for doing that for 2 years. Yeah. I'm not gonna say you get used to it, but
you build callous.
Exactly. Yeah. You definitely learn to not take it personal. Yeah. You definitely learn to just, I'm not gonna say do your job, but do what you're supposed to do, right? Do what you're exactly. Do what you're called to do, and obviously in that time it was spreading the gospel. And right now is, teaching about and educating about bird proofing, educating about solar panel cleaning. And just like Todd said, which is extremely important, is I've actually had phone calls too where people call me like, I just bought this house. I've never had solar. I don't know what to do. And it's
right there. His price goes up.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let me get the new homeowner's price. Right? That's 10 times more expensive.
And it's sad too because people right now is just people don't know what they're getting themselves into. Yeah, it's really sad. I've had someone, I actually quoted his job $3,500, and he was like, "Man, like it just seems like ever since I got these solar panels, just my life has just gotten worse."
Yeah.
And I've had to put so much more money out of my pocket. Obviously his pigeon problem, is going to stop after we've completed the job.
Yeah.
But it's like people don't know about these hidden factors when they get the solar panels. And so that's why my first thing is when I go door knocking is I just want to educate you. Yeah. I want you to know exactly what you've gotten yourself into now that you have solar panels, what to look out for. And then I actually wanted to ask Todd.
He's trying to get some. Yeah.
I want to ask you. So you mentioned that because you've been in this for 8 years, so you've done so many more estimates than me. Have you ever had an estimate where you've given your price, the lady or the guy says, okay, thanks, they went with someone else. Right. That other person did such a poor job that now they called you back to go back and fix it?
It hasn't been like that clear cut.
Okay.
I think we've probably had a couple, but we get more of I might not have quoted them, but they took the cheap route out, then we went back, and it's tough because like I feel for them, but like you're saying, so that guy, $3,500 or whatever it is, it's not because you're going to go buy a new van and get a new pressure washer system later today, is it?
No, of course not.
And buy like 500 bundles of material from me.
Right.
But that's the amount of money that's going to make it worth doing the job. Like, so right? And it sucks because we know, but they don't know. And then they get the cheap guy. So then some people, like sometimes, like I've had a couple guys call me lately, and you get seasons where it feels like people are following you and they're taking your jobs or they're underquoting you. And so say the guy, calls somebody and says, well, how much was that quote? It's $3,500. Then they Google map it. And then they go, okay, $3,500, I could do it for $2,500. They don't care. And then they cut the corners, whatever the case. So that the guy ends up spending the $2,500, and they don't do what you would do. So there's still cleanup, and now you got to take it all out, right? So you're still like 25 to 3G. So now the guy, instead of 3,500, he's at $5-6 grand. So we've done a lot of cleanups. I can't recall off the top of my head somebody I quoted and then I went back for the I gotcha moment, right? Like, yeah, but we clean a lot of people's just because they don't know, or they're just being cheap.
Yeah.
Because it hurts sometimes. Yeah. Like some jobs are very expensive, and some of these people just moved in, and like that guy was saying, man, it's just a snowball effect, or it just got solar, and now I've got to spend all this money. And guess who ghosts them? The solar company.
Yeah.
It's so stupid because if you were to line up, we were talking about this because in between us is Sunrun, and he's like, hey dude, have you been with the Sunrun? And I said, well, when it was Vivint before Sunrun bought them, we go on an annual basis to their staff and we give a presentation and all that. when I was selling, I said, man, I just have to do really good on one job and I should be able to get 2 jobs. So it's easier for me to do, spend the extra time, do a really good job, and get their friends and family, right? The people just, they don't understand that concept with, going in, doing a crappy job, and then ghosting these people, right? And then the salespeople, they ghost the customer. Mm-hmm. So that guy, hey, you know what? I'm sorry you're having that problem. Our company doesn't, do anything about it because it's a nature issue. But I do know somebody that's the tops in the industry. Here's his name. He could give you a good price. Right. He and I work together. They don't work together like that where they should, right?
Yeah.
So
I would have assumed that they would, because it's only like common sense. So I'm like, oh, I'm selling a product, but I don't provide, the extras as far as like the after cleaning, the damages.
They just act like it doesn't. You don't have to clean it, and there's never going to be pigeon issues.
I think it's their sales pitch though. I think the more that you tell them, like, well, there's benefits, but they don't want to give out the cons. Right. They don't want to lose that sale, and I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, because they're living off the commission. They're not living off of, being a good person to you. Right?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, you ask every salesman for solar panels, do you need to maintain solar panels? The answer is no. Solar panels are maintenance free.
Wow.
But I mean, being in this industry for 2 years, for 8 years, we know they're not maintenance free. And it's funny. I just saw a video the other day where a guy gave a quote for $1,500, and the homeowner was like, $1,500? That's crazy. He's like, all right, well, how about I rent you my equipment for $800? He's like, okay, I could do it for $800. He's like, all right, and then you got to go buy the material, which is such and such and such, and it ended up coming like $1,200. He's like, all right. But then now he's like, well, I don't know how to use your equipment. Okay, well then let me teach it to you for another $200. It ended up coming out like to the same quote, $1,500. But he broke it down in a way to where the homeowner now understood why that quote was that much. You're not just paying for an installation of bird mesh. You're paying for the expertise. You're paying for the knowledge. You're paying for the amount of time that we've been in this industry to know, like, how to cut corners. How to put it over conduits. To know, the ins and outs. Working with Spanish tile. I think out here in Palmdale, you guys have like, I would say maybe 75% of your homes is Spanish tile versus for us and up north, I would say 75% of it is shingles. We don't have a lot of Spanish tile. Nowadays, the new track homes, they are coming more Spanish tile, but it's more of like a 50-50 Spanish tile.
Is that because they're like living in barns still?
Because we just got electricity, remember?
That's right.
No, but like, we have a lot of shingles up there. So a lot of people would just see that and be like, okay, 1, I can walk on my roof easier.
Yeah.
And 2, it's as simple as just putting this mesh down and clipping it. And then 3, the mesh going on Amazon, you get that impression of it just being so cheap. It's affordable. But yet people don't realize that, there's cheap mesh out there. I was on the roof the other day, and I mean, this stuff was just flimsy, super flimsy. I mean, maybe, 2-3 bends and it would just snap.
Wow.
And so people don't take into account, that what they're paying for, why it's so cheap. People don't take into account of, being on the roof, how hot it is. I mean, if it's 90 degrees just walking on your concrete, it's about 120 being on the roof, so that environment. And then obviously, like I just said, the expertise and the knowledge of just doing this for so long. I mean, you're paying us for that as well. All that training, all that hard work that we've done in this industry. So
let me ask you this, because sometimes I overtalk, right? And so the one guy up in Lake LA, same thing, right? It was a single story ranch style home. And we had a good going back and forth. And then I gave him the price and he was okay with it. And
I know where you're going with this one.
Yeah, and then I told him, I said, okay, so don't be pissed off when my son's in and out of here in 30 minutes. And so he was like, he laughed it off, right? And then he was like, he's that good? And I'm like, yeah, this is what we do all day, every day. We eat it, sleep it, breathe it, whatever the case is. We're going to flush it, wrap it, bling it, make it look beautiful. So then he texts me, because we were booked out for like a week and a half. So then he texts me like, hey, I'm just thinking with what you said. And I'm like, damn, I shot myself in the foot again. I told him that we were going to be in and out in an hour. So he looked at whether it was $1,000 or whatever the quote was, like $1,000 an hour.
Yeah.
I want to be in this guy's shoes. So he's like, I could do it.
Yeah.
And then so instead of losing him, I said, well, hey, you know what? I said it's it's not rocket science. I said, but it's just dirty, filthy, sketchy, water on the roof, pigeon poop, slippery, don't, you're close to retirement, right? Like, don't break your neck. I said, but I'll sell you a package. I don't sell packages, right? But I said, I'll in my mind, I'm like, I'll sell them the linear feed and the clips and all of that stuff. And then but strategically, I marketed it, it's kind of where you're talking about that video, to where it was like he would start thinking, is it really worth me getting on the roof?
Exactly.
Right. And so he goes, well, I'll tell you. So he worked it all the way down to where he's like, let me just take care of the flush out. I thought about it again. You guys are experts. You've been doing this for so long. And I thought I could probably do it. So I'm going to take care of the flush out. And then he called back after that. He's like, after getting a mouthful of the pigeon crap, because he flushed it from the front, he swallowed pigeon crap. He's like,
no.
Yeah, that's so bad.
That's delicious.
Send your son. I don't care if he's done in 20 minutes, right? But it's, yeah, some people think.
It, like, I don't want to taste it again.
I mean, and that's just it. Like people, I think people get sticker shock.
Yeah.
Extremely sticker shock because during high school, for the 4 years of high school, I did car detailing as a side hustle. You know, my dad being an auto mechanic, I was just always around cars, so I kind of knew a lot of the ins and outs of like just how to handle cars and just really the nooks and crannies of how to clean things. So I did that, and so nowadays, like people. When you go get a car wash, you can expect the price. You know what you're working with. When you get a car detail, you can expect the price. You kind of know what you're dealing with. But when it comes to pigeons on your roof, like you have no idea what you're dealing with. Yep. So people call us and say, I have pigeons on this, and it's such and such, size of a system. Okay, you're looking at $2,000, you're looking at $3,000, you're looking at $4,000. Like what? That's ridiculous. Just to come up there and get rid of birds. Like, okay, well, how do you feel when you're walking down the street and a bird craps on your shoulder? You feel gross, right? Okay, now imagine that 50 pounds of it, 25 pounds of it, 100 pounds of it that we have to clean from a 2-story roof that, like Todd just said, is maybe slippery. It's extremely hot right now, so it's not just one little bird crap on your shoulder. Now we're dealing with 25 pounds. Sometimes we're dealing with birds that don't want to leave. We have to go and get them out of there, pick them up with our hands. And, at first it's like, oh, you're going to bite me or not? But, so you get them off the roof. And so like, when hopefully homeowners can now think about that and really see the whole picture, that way, hopefully in the next 6 months, a year, 6 years.
It's such a turnover though, right? So you get all these folks in, like that guy, this is Anaverdi, that his spot was our gold mine 8 years ago when we started. We were doing every other house, right? And they're very small systems, right? But he added on. And he's like, I'm not worried about that one little system, but he's only been there 2 years. That community it's been there for a minute, right? And so that just when you think you've got that neighborhood cinched up, there's the maintenance, right, of it as well. And it's like going back out and re-educate. It seems like our job is never done, right?
No, of course, crazy. I mean, you're always washing your car. You're always getting an oil change. You're always rotating your tires. It's the exact same thing. You should always be cleaning your panels. And one analogy that I really like to tell people is, do you only clean your mouth with mouthwash? Is that enough? No, it's not.
Scrub a dub dub. Exactly. I'm still in that one.
You have to brush your teeth, right?
You got a toothbrush.
Exactly. So we take our brushes, whether it's man powered or electric.
That was a dig on us. This guy's Mr. Fancy, 5,000 watt brush spinning at 3,000 RPMs.
Yep. So whether it's man powered or whether it's hydro powered, it's a brush that's gonna clean these panels. It's gonna get whether it's lichen off of it, whether it's bird proof off of it, whether it's just all the dirt and grime from the roads, from the cars that are just driving by. You have to scrub. You have to get a brush up there and really get down and dirty. So. And there are certain spots, for example, in my area, for example, San Jose, California, it's really city-like, so there's not so much dust and dirt. So in that area, I do tell people once a year is more than enough. Right. But for example, Gilroy, I mean, it's the garlic capital of California. So there's just so much agriculture,
It's crazy.
That it's filthy. Right, so those panels need to get cleaned every 6 months compared to San Jose, which is every year. And then if I go more towards the beach areas, which is like Santa Cruz, Aptos, which is also like 20 minutes from Gilroy, I mean, those are every 6 months because we get a lot of algae growth on the panels because of just so much humidity that's in the air. So crazy. Depending on where you live, it's going to change on the maintenance of the solar panels. But it all comes down to just, number one, educating the homeowners that they need to maintain these solar panels.
But when you started off a solar panel cleaning.
Yeah.
But what's your gamut of what you offer today? Because you have like everything under the sun, right?
So right now we do solar panel cleaning and solar panel bird proofing. That's the bread and butter, right? That's definitely going to be our main priority when it comes to services. Our extra services, because it kind of ties into bird proofing, is going to be gutter cleaning and window cleaning. Okay. It ties in because, like, as Todd has mentioned earlier, we flush out the systems. So as you're flushing out the systems, I mean, the house is going to get dirty. The windows are going to get splattered on. Some of it might drip down if the gutters are already all clogged. So if we're going to be flushing out your system and dirtying your windows, why not clean your windows as well, right? So we do those 4 services, which is solar panel cleaning, solar panel bird proofing, gutter cleaning, and window cleaning. And then our last one that we're going to be starting this year. So for those of you that are hearing and watching this, we're starting
this guy's just
holiday lighting.
Holiday lighting.
So we're going to be doing holiday lighting. Come September 1st, we're going to start taking appointments and booking them for October. And then we'll be booking appointments from October to, obviously, to Christmas, December 25th. And then, after that, after New Year's is when we start taking the lights down.
Okay.
So he's going to go from all one solar shine to just all one.
All one shine.
Because it's everything.
There you go.
He's got the whole burrito, right?
Exactly.
But that's like, we talk about, like, he has so many services, right? And it's hard enough cleaning solar and doing pigeons to get customers to find you. So it's like being like a solar servicing company that has these add-ons, right? Like doing the marketing and all of that. Like, you see he does a lot of work, right? And I'm like, how the hell, right? It's hard enough to just get the solar panel cleanings. But then he's doing like the gutters, and not the gutters, but then the gutter covers, and then not that, then the carports for the schools and tennis courts and things like that. I'm like, how the hell did a tennis court company or whatever they are find this cat as all one solar shine, right? Because like we'll debate about this. Like, I've got Solar Clean and then Mr. Clean Turf, and I keep them separated because I have 2 different personalities. Depending on what personality I wake up, depends on which shop I go to.
Right, depending on what shirt you put on.
I almost put the wrong one on today. Oh wait. So it's like, we collab a lot on that stuff, but it's crazy because a lot of people in the industry, I think they start off on, they see the solar panels and they're like, I'm going to kill it. But then when they start doing it, they see all of the other opportunities that are there, and then they just add them on in, right? So I just thought I would ask him, like, how does he get his tennis court people,
So the tennis court actually came from one of the schools that we do their carports. So my mentality behind all this is, like, when you have one client, make sure they know everything that you do, because you don't know if they may need something or if they know someone who needs something.
Right.
So, like, for example, if you're at this house, or if Devin's at, like, I think he did a job today this morning, does that client that he did this morning know you clean turf? If they don't, then you just lost a potential client there, because either A, they have turf, or B, they know someone who has turf that could use your service. So you always, and this is obviously my opinion, you should always let each client, whether it's commercial or residential, know all the services that you do, because you just don't know, what they may need. But the whole, like, gutter cleaning, window cleaning, and holiday lighting comes into play because we already have all that. We already have ladders. We already have harnesses. We're already on your roof. Right. I don't have to go out and buy a power broom and clean turf. Right. So, so if you're going to add services, take a look at what's in your van, take a look at what's on your truck, and say, okay, what else can I do with this stuff already? So that's the reason why I'm in these other services, because I already have everything that I need. Right. Now, if I wanted to go and clean turf, or I wanted to go and paint a house, I have to go out and invest in so much new equipment that I don't have right now.
Gotcha.
And so that's why, I'm able to do these services just because I already have everything.
Yeah. It's like some customers have asked us many times, like, it's kind of funny because they're usually the customer that was like giving you crap about the price of the tab, right? But they get the service done, and then they're like, hey man, because they see the equipment, right? Yeah. And then they're like, do you do windows? And I'm like, I can, but it's like a specialty thing, right? And then it's like they were belly aching about the price to get the pigeons evicted, but then they're like, yo man, they see the guard is down now, and there's a trust built. Absolutely. And then the guy's like, yo man, do you do windows? And trust me, I've got like URLs and I've got Instagrams and stuff on all these other businesses, because I see a lot of the guys in solar, they do windows and they do all of that stuff as well. The thing that I'm real blessed with is with Devin and my wife. The wife takes care of all of the calls, the follow-ups, and all of the office stuff. Devin, and we've got 2 Jakes, right? So we've got 2 vans that do the pigeons and the solar panel cleaning. So that Mr. Clean Turf, I'm able to go and screw around with that and drum it up and get the customers and things like that. So I'm really blessed that the thing that I struggle on, and this guy's blown up like big time in the little period that he's been there with 2 vans and employees and all that. I'm like, I can't even get people to show up for an interview, and he's already training them. Holy crap, right? But it is when you're looking at the where am I going with this? So Devin's taking care of that. I'm over. Oh, that's where it is. The folks that are doing it. One of my wife's cousins told me one time. He goes, "You're not a company, not in a bad way." He goes, "You're not a company. You're a service. If anything, it's because you do everything." And I'm like, "Whoa!" I said, "He goes, if you get hurt, your company stops." And I was like, "Damn!" At the time, I couldn't find anybody. It was new. It was hard, right? They afford me that opportunity to be off the roof to explore those other business ventures where like you've pivoted real nice on is like if you're doing a gutter job, that doesn't mean you're not doing pigeons. Mm-hmm. Not killing the money, because if I was to put it in order, I mean, if you're doing carports for school, I'm sure that's going to be the big money maker right there.
Absolutely.
Versus, you know what I mean? So a lot of these people, they spread themselves thin, and they're pumping it up on social media like, yo, I'm cleaning windows, and I'm like, yeah, but that's a 3-hour job for $300 when yesterday you were doing a pigeon eviction probably for 3 G's. You know what I mean? So it's like when you see people, I watch everybody in the industry. It's like people like Edgar and his crew, where he's able to, when he's doing the gutters or he's doing something different, they're not taking away from the other service to do this service. You know what I mean?
So, absolutely. Yeah. We always try and, I'm not going to really call it a package also, but we want to just combine the services because we're on the roof already. I mean, if we're already on your roof cleaning your solar panels, I'm going to take a quick look at the gutters, and if they're just filthy, take some good pictures, show the homeowners like, hey, I'm up here. I can give you a little bit of a discount because I'm saving myself a drive to your house again. You know, I'm already up here. Everything is in my van. I can just quickly clean your gutters out and boom. So I'm able to do those things, and a lot of times the homeowners appreciate that, you know, or just like when you do inspections, if you're cleaning a solar panel and you see birds underneath there, I mean, you're not just going to stay quiet. You're going to let them know. So it's the same thing with just gutter cleaning and window cleaning, or if you go to the house and you're there for pigeon proofing, you just see some filthy windows. I mean, hey, I'm here. Why not just clean your windows? So it just adds on, and it makes a whole buying experience that much more pleasant, because now the homeowner really feels good, and I like to put it as they're happy to give you their money. And I say this too because, for example, going back to my high school days, cleaning cars, you get that satisfaction when you're done cleaning the car, right? You give someone $400 to detail your car, to shampoo it, whatever, to wax it. You come out, you see it after 4 or 5 hours. Boom, you're smiling. You're not thinking about the $400, $500 that now you got to pay. You're just thinking about, like, wow, my car looks good. Right?
But do you get those customers? Devin just got one the other day. He's what did you? Well, he's off, not on mic or anything, but he was disappointed because like he did a radical job. Like this thing looked beautiful, and what did the customer say? Yeah. Like it looked so good, and it was a total disaster.
What did the customer say? Because he's not on the microphone.
Make sure there's no pigeons left under there.
Oh,
it's like, dude.
So the problem, and that's the problem though, because we're dealing with stuff on the roof, people can't see it. They can't they don't get that gratification of what we've done. Like, I follow heavily Todd's Instagram, and I mean, for those of you who are listening or that are watching, if you do not follow Todd, definitely please
follow somebody.
Please follow, Solar Clean, because his installs are clean. And I mean,
that's the Devin.
I was going to say, I probably should be giving credit to Devin because I know Devin is doing it now, but I mean, they're just so nice, so clean. But the problem is homeowners just don't pay attention to that. Yeah. They're not appreciating that enough. Why though? Because it's not like a car. You're not sitting inside the car. You're not flashing off that car. You're not showing that car when you go to the restaurant or something. And so that's one reason why, and what made me think, okay, well, if they're not going to be appreciating my bird mesh when I'm spending all this time and making it look so nice, I mean, maybe I can add on those windows or those gutters or something, so that way they can now appreciate everything that I've done. And I've definitely have seen a big difference in their faces and their smiles when they see, like, okay, everything looks so good.
It's nothing like a clean window.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Like, or when they drive up and then like you get those nice, beautiful reflections from the window. I mean, it makes the house really pop.
Yeah.
So so that's where all that came into play as far as like why add on all these services, because you really just want to make sure that the homeowner at the end of the day is a happy person when they give you that check or they pay you with that card.
Cool. So I know we're running like probably pretty close, but there's one question that I think like I'd like to talk. We talked about coming into business because of necessity and all of that. Like when you started, was there a game plan? Was there a business plan? Did you write it out? Did you have tons of money in the bank, or did you start with mouthwash without a toothbrush?
No, so no game plan at all, dude. None at all. It was strictly just, okay, what are other people doing on YouTube?
Right.
What are they using, and what do I need? And this all came from, I'm gonna give the credit to my brother-in-law. This was all his idea, right? Because so my brother-in-law does landscape, and he does landscape construction. And I don't know exactly where he even got the idea from. I think just from being outdoors and seeing the solar panels. But he approached me at the time. I was actually a project manager for pool construction, and it was a little chaotic, the pool construction industry.
I bet.
And he saw that my whole personality also was I want to be outside. I want to be outside. I want to do my own thing. I want to be able to handle the situation, and if something goes wrong, it's because of me, and if something goes right, it's because, I'm not gonna say because of me, but because I'm in charge of everything, right? I'm making sure that everything is going smoothly. And so the whole business side of things. And so he approached me and said, he gave me this idea, or he shared with me his idea, and I was a bit skeptical at first. I was like, man, solar panel cleaning, just because I didn't even know, like...
He's like, I got to get on the roof, dude.
No, it wasn't the heights. It was more just like, are people going to pay for that? Are people going to want that? It was kind of like... And then the more you think about it, and then it kind of ties into, well, are people going to want to pay for Christmas lights and hang up? Yeah. Are people going to want to pay for just some nonsense stuff?
Some will, some won't,
Yeah, to come and feed my koi fish in my koi pond. Like, people pay for things that you just don't think people would pay for. But, I mean, there's always someone who just either doesn't have the time for, or just doesn't have the skills to do it, and so they go out and look for someone who does. And so after just talking with my brother-in-law, I'm the type of person, I've always had this attitude, just do it, just get it done, and you either go all in or you don't, right? And so I went all in. I got all the paperwork as far as licensing, insurances, and all that squared away. And then it was like, it went a lot faster and smoother than I expected. So we're like, oh crap. Like, so now
we're legit.
Yeah, we're legit. Now we need the van, and now we need the equipment. So then we got that. We drove out here to like Elsinore, where I'm going next, with the first van, got the equipment. And then literally, the next day I was like, okay, now I need clients.
Knock doors.
And so we started knocking doors. We started doing a couple free clients for like friends and family. One, for the experience, and two, for also just, because I've also had this, I don't know if this happened to you, but I've also had the experience of like being on someone's roof cleaning, and the neighbor walks out and be like, hey, what are you doing? Or like, oh, wait, like, how much for my house? Because they see you up on the roof with, doing something that they've never seen get done before. And so that just automatically sparks interest, sparks curiosity.
Yeah.
And so we started doing a couple free cleanings, with that in mind, where neighbors can see us and call us. And it started just going from there.
And you're building content, right? Getting out there, right?
Absolutely. And so just started doing, this was in the month of August. So we had from August till about October of just some solid cleanings, not every day, but definitely every week. And then winter hit. So that's when gutter cleaning really took effect. I'm like, okay, well, like I said, we already have all the equipment to get on the roof. So why not just start cleaning gutters? And then the springtime came around, and then it just kept going. And so it was really good. It's been going really good. And then the YouTube just came into play because it just came down to just the struggles that I saw in this industry of just so much gray in the industry, meaning there's nothing black and white. One person, it goes back to the analogy of there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I saw on YouTube, right? So if you are just starting out, or if you want to start out, it's hard to really learn off of YouTube, because there's more than one way to skin a cat on YouTube.
Yeah, amen.
And so I said, okay, well, I want to try and make this as simple as possible, be the Apple of YouTube of solar panel cleaning, and just have it be user friendly, so that way people can really get up there and either A, if you want to do your own DIY homeowner and get it done, or B, if you're another solar panel cleaner that just needs some more instruction, some more guidance, and so that's where that came in. But it really comes down to just education. I really want my YouTube channel to be all about educating not just the clients, the homeowners, but also other solar panel cleaners. and let them know that, you know, Todd the Birdman is here, and that's where I get my mesh from.
I was just thinking that, like, there's those folks that, like, I look at Edgar and I'm like, go get it, right? Like, you got all that energy, right? You'll probably be monetized somehow by YouTube at some point. Like, that knowledge, that's awesome. Like, little envious, but I'm like, I'm just not that guy, right? And people are like, you need to do your own thing like that. And I'm like, just like Orange County Choppers, right? There was the main dudes, and then there was the dudes that built the tank.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, there's the whatever, and then the guy that was doing the rat rod. Now he's like got his own show. You know what I mean? So when you have good relationships, there's certain people that have certain attributes and desires and drives. They take people along, right? You know what I mean? So I might end up in one of his episodes as the dude that sells and manufactures the best mesh out there. There's always, you know what I mean? There's always opportunity. Because I look at him, I'm like, dude, he's like, and he's able to respond back. Like, when I'm in traffic, I'm texting him like, dude, look at this, pissed off. But he's got all these things going on. He's got that YouTube and all that, which is awesome. But I like we were talking about it earlier. There's so much wrong information that's out there. There's a lot of right information that has to be out there. There's being a good guy, but then there's not giving away all of the trade secrets, right? So there's things that he'd probably have on his YouTube channel that would make you successful, but if you had a relationship with him, you'd be like the GOAT. You know what I mean? Like,
there's so much more, because until you get on the roof and do different kinds of panels, because not all panels are built the same, or not all installs are the same. Not all Tesla roofs are installed the same. So there are just so many things that you only will get and will only understand and really learn how to do it when your boots are on the ground, when you're physically doing it. But like Todd was saying, everyone has their niche, everyone has their thing. I mean, right now my thing, obviously, besides the whole solar panel cleaning, is YouTube, but Todd's is the bird mesh. You know, I don't plan on manufacturing and selling my own bird mesh. I will definitely
put that on record.
I will definitely and gladly and happily distribute Todd's bird mesh up north, so that way people don't have to drive down here and pick it up, or don't have to pay for their shipping fees. Just come up to me. We're in Gilroy, we're in Sacramento. Right. You know, we can meet somewhere locally. And then, you know, boom, I'll give you his bird mesh. But that's what he's doing, right? And as long as he can blow that up, I mean, boom, that's, you know, perfect. You know, definitely a round of applause for Todd and what he's doing and what he's growing with his bird mesh, with his clips, and hopefully later on with merchandise. I mean, you know, so everyone has their thing, and as long as you stick to it and just go all, you know, just all in, it'll definitely pay off.
Yeah, Todd definitely has a person-to-person connection, as far as like that's his strength, as far as like he could connect with the person because he's easily to talk to. As far as like he understands people already, he knows how to read people. And I understand that you probably grew up social media, as far as like, okay, this is what I could do using this platform and using YouTube, and this is how I'm going to utilize it so I can brand myself. And when it comes to Todd, it's more of like, I want to be in front of a person to actually educate that person, and then that's how I'm going to connect with that person.
He's saying that I'm not savvy with current technology.
But when it comes, but like how you're saying, everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses. Absolutely. As far as like for everything. You might be just the person that is easier to educate somebody just having a camera in front of you. And then I think even when it comes to me, because I'll bring it up to me, it's easier for me to connect with somebody just communicating. That's why I started the podcast. You know, with my own company, it's more like I feel different when I'm just looking at a camera lens and I'm just kind of just talking to talk, but I'm not connecting with anybody. And I know it comes through time, like the exercise of like just building the habit and routine, you know, you get better. But for me, it's almost like I need to feel a person in front of me so that I could then come off a little bit more genuine. And of course, now Todd being on my podcast, the last time he was here, we literally spoke for 4 hours. And that's where it became more like, okay, the conversation keeps going and keeps going, but that's his person, you know, like his person is just
feed off each other.
Yeah, exactly. And I think now that he kind of got out of his shell, as far as like being shy in front of the camera, I'm glad that he is now deciding, hey, I want to at least attempt a new avenue, which is the podcasting, because like you're educating your customer on YouTube, but he's probably just going to educate whoever he wants to bring in as a guest. And I would love to see his son sitting where you're sitting, right? Just to understand where he's at, boy. You know, just to see where he's at in his head, because he's the like literally the next person coming up. He's the legacy. Coming up with the new concepts and the new ideas, and okay, what is my necessity as far as like, what do I want to bring into this, this little avenue that my dad built.
I know what he wants to take out of it, and that's the new M4.
Right? he wants to take the boss out of it.
Yeah, exactly. But having that said, it's more of like people are already connecting with Todd, not only as a person with the business, but they're connecting as a father, with the actual human being. And I think that's kind of where I'm like always leading into people when it comes to marketing and branding, two different things. He's marketing because he's marketing his material online, like that's his thing. But what are you branding off of like your own person? Because your company is one thing, but your person is another.
Right.
And I think that's the one thing that a lot of people and a lot of companies are having the mistake of, like, I'm just going to sell a product, but like you guys are saying, you're selling the product from a person, and I think that's very important just to kind of add into what you're speaking about.
Yeah, for sure.
You make it really easy because like I told him, I said, you got to be there. You got to make this thing. I'll never get to. I didn't get to probably half the things that I wrote down. That's why I was like, I'm not going to spend a lot of time writing to him, right? But I figured, like, Edgar, All One Solar Shine, he's a good guy. The company is a great company. They're trailblazing, right? And this is just not because I like the guy, but I've been in the game long enough to see those that are adding value for whatever, whether it's YouTube, training videos, secrets, and things like that, or just generally being a good guy. And then I've seen people that are just money hungry, and then I've seen people that are just discounting things in a manner that I just think is ludicrous. And I see things like, so that's why I reached out to you a while back, and it takes me sometimes to like get off the crapper, because I've told him, I said, this makes it so easy to come in here, everything's set up, and then like he even said, I'll go to your warehouse and see if you have space, and then walk you through like building you a little area. But there's a guy on the board, there's lights, there's stuff. That's a lot, right? I'd rather leverage the expertise in this room
for sure.
But yeah, there's a lot that on the daily, like whether it be like, I don't understand why people are going in this direction, or hey, I think we should be going collectively in this direction. And I might talk to you about it, or I might talk to Devin about it, but I do feel there's a need for, not just egotistically, let me sell you a bunch of material and I'm the GOAT and all. I'm definitely not. Like you were saying, you're giving me credit when he's doing the work. Right? I'm like, yeah, buddy, that's the way it's supposed to be. But like the podcast, he makes it look so easy. Like I was listening to his podcast with the real estate girls. They're ladies. Everybody's younger than me, but it was flowing. And I was going to send it to you, but I'm like, you're too distracted, right? But I was like, there's so much that's going on in our industry that we have an opportunity to talk about. And I hate to say it, right? Like I tell people sometimes, like, I'm not John Gotti of Pigeon Evictions, but like Devin's like, no, that right there is done wrong. This is wrong. This the ethics or the way they went about it. There's certain things that need to be called out, but then more of a supportive type of, like, you have bought a lot of material in a very short period of time, and you're helping me with distribution up in your area, and you're helping those people get to know my brand and all of that stuff. So I was like, man, since you're coming down, if you could give us an hour, right, get this guy on the horn to sort of facilitate this and let us like pick through your brain, right, to get you, you've got a platform, you've got Instagram, you've got Facebook, you've got YouTube, you got your little first podcast in the books now, right? It's like there'll be many more to go because you got to keep coming down to get material.
Absolutely. No, I definitely appreciate time like this, and definitely appreciate, just being here and being able to learn from both of you. And because, I mean, you're not in our industry, but at the same time, that personality and just who you are and that demeanor, and just, as a business person, you can always learn from someone.
Yeah, definitely.
You definitely want to have those type of people in just amongst you, because if you're going to be walking with everyone who has the same mindset, you're all going to go in the right direction.
Exactly.
Right? So
power influence for sure.
Yeah.
I love being around entrepreneurs, just the energy that comes into the room, just the idea that I'm not alone, because sometimes we feel alone, doing the right thing. Sometimes it doesn't feel right because it's hard. Right. And then doing the wrong things, it's so much easier. There's so many of those people that they're in the crowd, but the people that are doing the correct thing, like going on the straight and narrow, I'm like, oh, where are my friends? But everyone's kind of like leading into another path that I'm like, I don't want to lead into that path, because we all know where that's going.
Right.
So I love that you came in and, spoke to Todd in his first episode. And Many to come for sure, because I'm definitely gonna encourage him. He's like I said, when it comes to talking, he's very like, I can't do what he does on his Instagram. You know, like just jump on my phone and just like talk randomly.
Wait, this dude's flying a drone with like probably a $1,200 camera, riding a remote skateboard. I can't even ride a skateboard no more. So this guy, like, he may say, like, there's a lot going on over here, but you should watch his page and how his team puts it together.
Yeah.
Nice.
It moves in silence, but it's seamlessly, right?
Yeah, but we all have our strengths and we all have our weaknesses. And that's the one thing that I like to always encourage people, like, hey, I see your strength. This is how you should utilize it. And how everybody knows, and I'm pretty sure because you guys are in the industry, who is who and who is not. And then, of course, because Todd right now, he's kind of like now more into, I want to grow my voice and I want to grow my brand. I hope not only the person that's in the industry, but the person that's outside the industry that could actually give him recognition as far as like, hey, this is the person to talk to if I need some sort of information when it comes to the solar panel industry or anything that has to do with solar panel cleaning. In and out turf, because, you know, like every entrepreneur, we feel like we need to do more.
Right. Yep, we're never happy, never satisfied.
Never happy. Right.
So he's gonna start building his own shoe next. You know,
exactly, right?
So I was telling Edgar real quick, I was talking to a guy on the turf side, and I told him, I said, hey man, you make a really great product. Is there any opportunity for private labeling? He's like, that's all ego, bro. And I was like, I want my own cleaner, right? And he's like, that's all ego, dude. Get over it. And I was like, oh, dang.
It all comes down to passion. Yeah. You know, and being, like, for example, being in this room right now, we can all feel each other's passion. Yeah. You know, you not just hear it, you see it, you feel it. And I think that's really what it comes down to. And you can see that and feel that and hear that also through video. Like if you go on other people's Instagram pages and you see the way they talk, see the way they film things, or just listen to them, you can definitely, you feel that passion. I feel bad I don't know this guy's name or anything, but he's in Las Vegas. I think you know him because he uses your mesh, I believe. Right. It's like something, maybe Golden Run Vegas or something.
Vegas Johnny, he was just here. I was just gonna post a video. He was here yesterday.
And like, and you can hear how upset he gets when he goes to a job and it's done wrong, right? The bird mesh is done wrong. And so you just hear that passion, you feel that passion, and you know that this guy is also in it to win it, and he cares about his homeowners, about the clients that he works with. He cares about just the amount of money that people are wasting, you know, by going with the cheapest route, having it done wrong, and now having to, I guess, contact Johnny to have it get it done right. Yeah. And so by seeing these people, like you said, you learn and you see who's really in it and who's not. Some people may take. I mean, the other day I was at a job where it was, I'm just going to throw out a random number of like 100 feet was all bird meshed, but 10 feet of that 100 feet was spiked, right? Instead of bird meshed. I don't know if they ran out of bird mesh or if they thought they could, you know, just get away with spikes or what, but you know, that's
an Amazon purchase.
Yeah. You learn that, you know, there's people who just don't care, you know, they're in it just for the money, and that's all they want, just the money. And that's definitely the wrong way to see things. That's definitely the wrong way to go about doing things. So it's that passion that really is going to drive you, and it's going to take the rest of those that have the same passion with you.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah. Well said, for sure.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, Todd. Well,
that wasn't 4 hours. That was pretty good, right?
If there's any last words, as far as like any last question or any last, if there's any questions as far as like to end the conversation.
Give your plug, man. This is all about you, Gilroy. Happy Gilmore up there.
I know, right? No, I think that was pretty much it. I definitely wanted to leave it at that, just making sure that you have that passion. Right. You know, that if whether you are in the solar panel industry or whether you're not, and you're just out there as an entrepreneur, and even a young entrepreneur, because like we have Devin in here as well. So many people right now that are graduating, these young kids just have no idea what they're doing.
Clueless.
Just no idea. So if you guys can just find what you like, find what you want to do, find that passion, and just go out there and practice it, experience it, you know, master that craft. I mean, you'll exactly know. You'll eventually love it, and that love will take you to just enjoy what you're doing.
Yep, I agree. Well, that's going to be the title for the first podcast. Find your passion.
Find your passion.
That's right.
Or get the hell out of the way so I could take the customer.
There you go. All right, Todd, if you want to give us a closer, because it's your episode.
This is the Birdman signing off for the day. All One Solar Shine. My buddy Irving over here, Devinator over there, and the man behind the mix over there.
It's Jordan over there.
Jordan. That's how I was trying to remember the name, but it doesn't come easy. So hopefully you guys like the content. I had 500 things written down. We got to maybe one, the introduction. This might be a series upon series, but if you're in the industry and you've got something that you feel you can offer, like, we want to hear about it, right? We want to support it. So reach out to the Birdman or Mr. All One up north, Mr. Northern California. If we were in prison, this would not happen.
Right.
Northern California and Southern California, but in this case, we're all about collaborating and making it make something right.
That's right. So, that's right. Amen.
That's it.
All right, you guys. We'll see you guys on to the next one.
Yeah, buddy.